Must be a basketball show, huh?
How'd you know?
Because you pretending to shoot a basketball.
I'm working on my shot because I get buckets.
Never had a shot, never got buckets.
Well, today we're going to be talking to a person who knows about people who have gotten buckets, who've gotten shots. We're going to talk about the history of basketball here in the DMV. Did you know who knew that we had such great history? People always talk about the Rucker up in New York, but we had great players here.
A lot of talent came out of this area.
A lot of talent.
#1 pick overall, Markelle Fultz.
Adrian Danley from back in the day.
League MVP, Kevin Durant.
Lonny Baxter, 2001, 2002, regional MVP in the NCAA championships.
Stevie Franchise from the area, 3rd pick in the NBA.
Dave Bing.
And Elgin Baylor, NBA champion and big-time scorer in the league.
We're going to check that about the NBA championship on Elgin Baylor.
Yeah, he didn't get one until he went to the Lakers.
Okay, all right then. Well, we have a lot to learn today, and our guests today are going to educate us about this great history.
Yeah, the young man has a lot of programs that promotes the league basketball, helps the young kids get to college, and you know he documents a lot of the history of the game that was here in D.C.
That's right, and they say you got to know your history.
Indeed.
So stay tuned to the Veronica Harris Show so we can learn some more.
I had a shot. You ran track, Veronica.
Stay tuned. Hi and welcome. Today we're speaking with Ricky Goings. He is the founder of Everyone Deserves a Shot, which is a nonprofit organization that helps kids find basketball scholarships. A few of the notable players are Rodney Pryor, Georgetown University, Marquise Reed, Clemson University, and Corey Holden, Delaware University. Ricky is the founder of the Select Combine, which features 100 local high school kids and over 50 college coaches. He is also the producer of the Red Cup Hour and co-founder of the Legend Coalition. Ricky is also the founder of the Why Not Us project, which highlights the history of DC basketball. Our second guest today is Mr. Lonny Leroy Baxter. He is a retired professional basketball player, and at 6'8", he played the positions of power forward and center. He has played with such notable NBA teams as the Chicago Bulls, Toronto Raptors, Washington Wizards, and the Houston Rockets. While attending the University of Maryland, he and his teammates won the 2002 NCAA championship. His teammates were future NBA players Juan Dixon, Steve Blake, and Chris Wilcox. They defeated Indiana. He was named the regional MVP of the tournament twice during the NCAA tournament in 2001 and 2002. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys for being here. How are you?
Doing well.
Good, good. Well, as you know, I am the host, but this is my co-host, big little brother Gregory, and he is going to take over for now.
Well, I ain't taking over, but thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Y'all been doing a lot of things in the area, the Legend Coalition being one of them, and a few other ventures. And Lonny, the hometown hero that went all the way to the NBA. I know you put the legend in the Legends Coalition, so we had to have you here also. Veronica, these are good friends of mine. I know them very well.
Oh, all right.
So
well,
you just kick back and try to learn something, all right? Let's start with you, Ricky. EADS, everybody deserves a shot.
Yeah, everyone deserves a shot.
How long you been doing that?
Started at 2014. I had one kid who was high school coach. Well, people told him he wasn't going to be a Division I basketball player. You know, I disagreed with that. I thought that he had a chance, so we started putting together workouts, helping with his academics, reaching out to college coaches, and through the process, he was able to sign with High Point University. Through those, North Carolina.
Yes,
He's doing a 2-year starter there now. And from people hearing about that, it was the second kid, Mike Cunningham, who set out his senior year of high school, but a really good player, and I was able to help him get a scholarship in USC Upstate. And then word of mouth started coming, and you know, from there we ended up linking up with Rodney Pryor, who ended up at Georgetown, Corey Holden, who transferred from Delaware, South Carolina. He was the #1 transfer in the nation. And through that, we offer a lot of mentoring around recruiting and just helping guys understand the process of getting in school, and that it's not always how good you are. Sometimes it's who you know and the opportunities you're given. So these kids work really hard, and when coaches came to see them, and they were impressed. So more kids started coming. They got to a point where we were working with most of the kids in Prince George's County and a lot in D.C. And from there, we've been able to help just kids that might not have ever got opportunity before, just showing that if you put kids in a position, let the coaches and them make the decision on what happens. Let's not take the people, like even myself, out of it. You know, we're just going to provide the platform. Let the kids do what they have to do.
That is very good what you say, because we both are coaches. I was track and field. He coached basketball, a little bit basketball. But in terms of when I had students that were ready to go, it is a process. I mean, a lot of people don't understand the recruiting, that it is a process, and that there's a lot of things that one has to look out for. But it really does start with the academics, because I know when I talk to a coach, first thing they want to know is what are SAT scores and what's their GPA.
So Lonny, I want to talk about your journey a little bit. But my sister was telling me that I was rare because I played Division I basketball. You would just say 1% of all the high school?
Well, yeah, when you look at, there's a couple 100,000, maybe close to 1 million people, young kids that play basketball. And from that sample size, only 3% go on to play collegiate. And we're talking about D1, D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA. And then from that 3%, only 1% played Division I basketball, and there's about 356 Division I colleges, universities. So, and then from the 1%, then there's an even more minuscule percentage that actually go on to play professionally. But I was just letting Gregory know, I was like, you know, when we talk about scholarships, the chance that you will actually get a full scholarship, that's what, you know, all scholarships are not equal and they're not full, is actually pretty rare, and to play at the elite, or what's called D1 level, is not easy.
And to get where you went, she said it was 0.03%. You ever realize that, look back and say, I'm only 0.03% of all the people that tried to play this game in high school?
Just like, you know, most of the kids that Rick deals with, you know, when I was coming up, you know, a lot of people told me, you know, I wasn't going to make it in college, you know, that I should go to a mid-major.
You were undersized.
Yeah, I was definitely undersized, you know, at 6'8", 6'7", really. A lot of people told me, you know, that I would never even play on a college level. But one thing when I'm mentoring my kids, I always tell them, just believe in yourself. You know, you're going to get critics regardless. You know, people are going to talk about you. They're going to talk about what you can and can't do. And people are going to try to limit you. That's just how society is. But me, I was a kid who had tunnel vision. I knew from day one I wanted to go to the University of Maryland. They weren't even recruiting me a lot, you know, and coaches used to ask me, you know, what college you want to go to, and I would say Maryland. And they were like, well, what's your second choice? And I would say Maryland, and they would look at me like, are you stupid? Like, they're not even recruiting you there. I'm like, I'm going regardless.
Choice,
And, you know, I was just, you know, wanted to stay home, just be a local kid. And, you know, things worked out just because of, you know, how determined and how focused I was, and just, you know, getting at Maryland, you know, and once I arrived at Maryland, you know, the same thing. You're not going to play until your junior year because such and such is in front of you. But, you know, by the end of my freshman year, I was starting, so.
Well, I do recall, I saw a couple of games that you played in, and I do remember that tournament run. You always played with such energy. And that's what all the commentators said about you. Like, you brought in, like, as soon as, like, if a basket was made, you made a basket, you was like, you was running down, but you didn't stop. You kept going down the other way to get back on defense. Like, you were that energy bringer.
That's what I had to be. Like I said, you know, just being one of the guys that were always slept on. You know, people doubted me. You know, that's just what I had to bring to the table. You know, just to show everybody that I'm not going to quit. You know, no matter if I'm playing against a 7-footer or whoever. You know, somebody bigger, stronger than me. I'm going to impose my will the best way I can, and that was just how I did.
You did.
Just, you know, bringing energy every night, and just a hard work ethic is what got me through college.
And I'm sure that's something that you try to instill or you know, impart to the other kids that you work with, because you also work with a youth program.
Definitely.
Correct? Through the credit we pay about financial literacy?
Yes. We have a youth financial literacy program, and like I always tell every kid, whatever you want to be in life, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. I mean, like I say, society tells you, you know, you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not smart enough, you know, you come from the ghetto. No matter where you're from, what your dream is, just never stop chasing it and just go after it.
But I think what you're teaching is something very important because we
Well,
talk.
hold on, Veronica, because we got time. That segment went by so fast. We got to take a break.
Okay.
All right, and then
Well, we're gonna talk about the Legends Coalition when we come back.
okay, and you got another program I wanted to hear something about too.
Okay.
But yeah, right after this break.
But that financial literacy is very good. Because, they don't want to be broke.
Definitely is important to be financially fit.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
And we're back, and we have so much to talk about. There's just so much. But Gregory, you said I'm gonna let you go ahead and.
Yeah. Rick, I want to talk about your latest ventures. Well, when I met you, you were known for chronicling the history of the game in DC. First question: what would you say DC basketball is known for? How would you characterize it?
It's where I think, and it's kind of hard to really explain. We're known for having a lot of talent in a little bit of space, right? I think Malcolm Battle friend of mine put it best when he said 10 miles long, 10 miles wide, but the amount of talent that come through here is really hard to speak for. So when you can look online, when I do the post and you see NBA champions, National Player of the Years, first round overall picks, we've had several, and to come from this small area, people are like, what is it about DC? And that's kind of what we're known for, but on the court, we're known for having guys that can just score the basketball. I mean, just all type, New York is known for their ball handlers. We're known for our scores. We are just, even when I do my recruiting, when they look to players in DC, you look for guys that can just get you a bucket. And I think that's kind of what we've left in terms of the national landscape. Now, because of gentrification, a lot of things, it's not just DC, it's the DMV, so to speak. But we're still leaving our mark to this day. NBA guys, national NBA champions, college champions, whatever level you want to say, we've gotten it done on every level when it comes to basketball.
When you say it's expanded to the whole DMV area, like District, Maryland, Virginia, I know we both went to Catholic school. You went to DeMatha, I went to Lorraine. So that was it was WMAC when you were playing. Do you find that most of the players are coming out of the parochial schools, or are they coming out of the public schools?
They're mainly coming out of the private schools, and that's because of a lot of the NCAA rules that kind of limit recruiting. There was a time when college coaches could show up at summer leagues.
Right.
Now they can only show up at certain AAU events. So because of that, there's more of a consolidation of the talent, and of course that's going to be at the private schools. I have college coaches tell me they'll recruit a JV private school program before they recruit a public school varsity.
Wow.
Because of how much the talent has been consolidated. You got guys that play at DeMatha that might be the 11th, 12th man that have Division I scholarship offers, and the leading scorer in the area might not have any. I'll tell you, Marquise Reed, he went to Capital Christian, was a private school, but not of the Catholic school level. He averaged 35 points a game, had one offer coming out of high school. So those.
You think it's because he didn't go to
he didn't go to. He was actually on JV at DeMatha and ended up transferring because it's just like I said, the talent is so consolidated.
Right.
And I spent a lot of time explaining to college coaches that, that's where a lot of the guys are, but there's talent everywhere else. You just have to kind of sort through and really do research. And guys like me can kind of be the person that, hey, I hear about this guy, I know about this guy, and it helps. But it's the way they've regulated recruiting that guys can only come see guys at certain times. So what can you do but consolidate as many people as you can?
Hey, Okay, interesting. Like, that's a whole nother show. But let's get back to the Legends Coalition, okay? Because you are the DC historian, and trust me, I got a lot of questions because, like you said, I didn't know that there were so many. Like when I started looking back and say, "Oh, where did this person come from?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, he went there." I'm like, I know that school. I went to that, I didn't go to that school, but I went, I went to all girls school. But I know these schools. Maybe I ran track there, or I was, it's just like, wow, amazing. But the Legends Coalition. Tell us about that. Like, let's get into that.
Well, it was I did it myself and Brian Chase came up with through doing the Wine of Us project. We're like, how can we kind of bring back excitement to DC playground basketball? Yes. The kids, even if you look at Markelle Fultz, like he has a different following. He's known for what he did the math that he'll be known for what he does in the NBA. But what stories will you have of him, what he did on the playground? So the goal was to kind of bring that back for the kids so that they can see guys that made their reputation on the playground. And a lot of them, it's their parents. They've heard about how good their dad was or family member, and now you get a chance to come see them, even though it's later on, a lot of these guys still know how to play. So it was that, and really to give the older guys a chance to really get back together. And what's the best way to do it through basketball? It was kind of like the summer was like a reunion. Guys hadn't seen each other in 20, 30 years. They're back on the court together. Right. So it was great. And the rivalry aspects, having the DC schools, the Maryland schools, and the rivalries within each city. So it was a lot of fun.
Excellent. Now, Lonnie, you played in the Legends Coalition. How did you get into it, and tell me about your experience?
Once, Ricky Goings and Brian Chase, they asked me to put together a team for Anacostia, and, I just reached out to all my guys that played, and once the season started, we were there. Actually, our first game, we were short a couple of guys. We had to pull some players off the stands, but, it was great, just to see people you haven't seen in years. All your peers from different schools, like the Easterns and, Cardozas, the Dunbars, H.D. Woodson. It was great. Like you said, it was just like a family reunion, and I found myself, hanging out at the Coalition more than anywhere I did in the city this summer, just hanging out, being around people I haven't seen in a long time, and a lot of my old good friends.
It sounded like it was a lot of fun. Like, I spent my time at the Oval Office, as they say, because that's what it's called, track and field. But, just hearing my brother, like when he was growing up, he played at the Kenner League, or you played different summer leagues and that nature, the playground and stuff like that. And just in general, the playground has sort of been lost. Like, we used to go out in the playground and, you could be there, like you could drive by any playground and the course would be full from like midday to night.
So, Veronica, there was the thing called the Urban Coalition. Now, that was like summer league ball at its best. It was indoors, and then it moved outside. I didn't get to play in the Coalition, but when it moved outside to Berry Farms, and that was like the place to be in the summer, I played a little bit there. But they said the Legend Coalition had that old Urban Coalition feel. It was indoors, and it was, it was just everybody migrated there to see, the basketball. And what I want to ask you, Lonnie, is, because I didn't get to check it out till, we covered the event for the championship. How competitive was it? Was you guys just running up and down? Because I heard a lot of great things. Then I heard, like, man, these guys up there out of shape.
First of all, do y'all play full court?
Yes.
So y'all don't do, like, the big three?
We play full court.
Well,
of course you play full court,
The big three, they don't play full court.
How competitive was it out there?
It was very competitive, and then once you got close to the playoffs, you seen people taking it more seriously. People calling more reinforcements to come play each week. Like, man, we need you this week, such and such. So it was definitely competitive. Spingarn, they took the championship this year. I was at the championship game against Oxon Hill, and it was a very good game. I don't think, either team led by more than 3 points the whole game, and it was back and forth, constant scoring.
Now, I've like I say, I heard a lot of good things, but was it times where guys that couldn't play in high school said, okay, there goes Lonnie. Couldn't get him in. I got his butt now. Well, did you hear that?
There was some of that. Like I say, some people, the funniest thing to see was the online comments of how serious people would take it. Before after every weekend was over. People chiming in, saying, "Oh, we gonna do this. We gonna, Me, I was just glad to be, able. I'm still blessed just to be able to run up and down on court, with everybody. I'm 38 years old, and I haven't played professional basketball since 2012.
Well, there are a lot of injuries.
There was a few, not as many as I thought.
Okay.
But there was a few. We had a torn.
I bet the ice concession was huge.
Did you have an ambulance in the parking lot?
We had a ripped Achilles in the first
Ooh.
2 minutes of one game. That was a little bizarre, but other than that, it was okay. Now, how the guys felt the day after the game was something totally different.
So it seems like the response was tremendous. So does it mean you're going to do it again next year? Like what is it?
Yeah, we're looking to do next year. We have some exciting new things we're going to add next year. We'll be announcing in the next couple weeks.
Now, what was the total amount? I heard, you really got this together in a short amount of time. Y'all had 25 teams?
It was 45 days planning, and we budgeted for 8 teams, and we finished 26 teams participated.
Wow.
25 finished the season. So it was great. The way we set it up, it was open for us. Like we left it open enough to be able to allow these teams in terms of scheduling and how we organize the league. So we're going to grow by a couple teams next year. So
all right. Well, we definitely want to be there to cover that too.
Can you share a little bit about what's in store next year, or it's too early to talk about it?
In a couple of weeks, but it'll be exciting.
Do you have more guys coming to you say, or maybe that didn't know about it, be like, hey, I just found out. I would definitely want to be down with this next year.
We heard it from after week 1 when people saw opening day.
Oh, wow.
But we wish we could accommodate everybody. We can't. But one of the important things that you're going to have to manage your team. It's not as free. Like there's some expectations. So teams to show they can do that, along with if guys take the understanding coming in, we'll definitely be open to.
I was curious. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was curious why there wasn't a DeMatha team this year.
Well, they did come to me about participating in a team, and I was planning to have surgery, so I told them I couldn't participate. And then when I started hearing more and more about it, I was like, I got on the phone, was like, all right, where did the DeMatha team at? Put me on it. And then it was like he couldn't get the guys together. But we play next year, though. We're going to be in there next year.
Curl's calling y'all out every day on Facebook now.
Yeah, we're going to be out there.
You cannot let Curl call you out. Now, if you let Curl, y'all just need to.
Well, I just got on Facebook yesterday, so once that's all I got to do is see it.
All right, well, we definitely gonna make sure we stay connected, that we are covering it. I'll be following on Facebook, posting, because I just want to. I want to be a part of this. But anyway, we're going to take a break right now, and then we will come back with What is Veronica Thinking? So stay tuned.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Hi, I'm Ricky Goings.
And I'm Lonny Baxter.
You're watching the Veronica Harris Show
on DCTV.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For What is Veronica Thinking? And today I am thinking about the history of basketball in the DMV, or District of Columbia. By talking to our guests today, Rick Goings and Lonny Baxter, I learned that there's a rich and deep basketball history in this area. And we don't always hear about it. Like we hear about New York, we may hear about, I don't know, out in Texas, Chicago, and something like that. But right here, I mean, gosh, you just have like the pantheon of like great players, and that needs to be recognized and brought out more, because especially to the young people, because we have so many young people in DC that's playing basketball, but they need to know the history. That, wow, you guys come from great stock.
Yeah. And what I'm thinking is about, you know, some of the participants that were in the Legends Coalition. There was guys into their 50s still playing the game well, and, you know, being competitive out there. So, you know, that's great to see that, you know, you can still play the game at you know, into your later years, post-retirement years.
Anything y'all want to add to it?
Yeah, I think you made my good friend Lonnie Harrell, we talk about that all the time. The reason you don't really hear about the history of DC basketball is because it hasn't been documented.
Oh, okay.
You can go back to New York and see Dr. J playing at Rucker Park in the 70s. You can try to find an Urban Coalition video.
Oh, wow.
It's because a lot of times I think we let corporate America come in and tell us how and who can see what. I mean, you can't take a cell phone in the Kennedy. So
you can't?
You can't film or not, you can't get video.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I say, so DC basketball lacks the documentation that other cities have.
Well, we want to be there to document it.
We were there to document the coalition, though. Got that one.
We gonna be that. Lonnie, what about you?
Just like, you know, Rick just mentioned, you know, one of some great players, you know, two that I think of, you know, Lonnie Harrell and Greg Jones, you know, never played an NBA minute, but were some of the best, you know, players in the city flat out. I mean, playing against professional talent and could score 70 points in a game. And like I say, a lot of people don't know, you know, the history because, like I say, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, they just never made it to that level where people, you know, they got to see people play on that type of level. You know, Greg played at, you know, University of West Virginia. You know, he played after coming from junior college. He played 2 years there. You know, Lonnie Harrell played at Georgetown and Northeastern. You know, he had complications with his heart.
Oh,
wow. But like I say, these two guys were phenomenal players in their time. You know, coming out of DC. If you ask anyone in DC, yeah, people in DC know them, but people outside of DC, you know, they just don't know, you know, the talent level, and they never got to see these guys, you know, dominate the way they did in their prime.
Well, right now, putting it right here. This is a movement. We're starting it. We are going to partner with Mr. Ricky Goings, and we're going to help document. You know, wherever there's basketball, we will be there to see it and document it.
Do a 40 for 40.
Yeah, do a 40. Nah, JC got 40-40 club. Do it 50 for 50. 50 for 50. But no, I mean, that really is important. And not just to know who they are, but there are so many people that are good that don't make it to the next level. And you ask, and I always want to know why. Why? And there's so many stories behind it, you know?
And they highlight a bunch of them. You got to check them out. They got their Red Cup hour.
Okay.
They share a lot of these stories. They talk about a lot of these players and the history of it.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you, the both of you, Ricky and Lonnie. You guys are going to come back, right?
Yeah,
because there's just so much we got to talk about.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for being here. And I'd say thank you to our audience out there. And make sure you tune in to see us again next time.